Hey, church, welcome to our first all-digital annual meeting. You might recognize that this year we've kind of shifted our ministry cycle and our financial cycle from September to September. So at the end of every fiscal year, it's our responsibility as a church to share with you what's going on. And so I'm so excited because what we're going to do here today is three things. First, you're going to hear from all our different ministry heads, kind of what's been going on in different ministries over the last year. Secondly, you're going to hear from Brian Shanafelt, who is our governing board facilitator, and he's going to give you some information about some people that we're kind of putting on our board and some of that stuff. And he'll be talking about how to vote and all that stuff. And then finally, I'm going to come up and end our time together talking about what we're hoping to accomplish this year. So again, welcome to our annual meeting. I hope you enjoy.
Hey guys, I'm Dan Arnold, one of the pastors here, and I wanted to take a moment to celebrate the ways that Mercer Creek has been actively serving our community. It may seem that with COVID that we weren't as involved and hands-on, but that could not be further from the truth. A couple things I want to highlight for you. One is our Community Care Fund. Many people don't even know this fund exists, but when you give any amount of money to Mercer Creek, a percentage of that money we give away, and some of that specifically goes into what's called our Community Care Fund. Do you know that in the last ministry year, we gave away almost $40,000 into our community? It's just, that's what you guys did. That money also came through our Christmas Eve offerings as you gave generously. And some of you even gave throughout the year, specifically to this fund. And I want to tell you just briefly some of the ways that we spend that money to serve our community. One is through a small, very special ministry we call Pastoral Partners. Beth Paul leads that team, and each month we meet one-on-one with anywhere from 12 to 20 individuals and households going through different life crises. And we're able to assist, we're able to pray with those families, we're able to help them problem solve as they face all kinds of challenges, from financial to spiritual to you name it. And I'm so grateful that our church gets to be involved in people's lives in this way. But we also have a number of community partners that you may not even know about. One of our oldest community partners is CareNet, our local pregnancy care center. And as we've been involved with CareNet since the very beginning, since they opened their doors here. They're an amazing ministry that serves women and families in need when they find themselves with an unexpected pregnancy, and they help support these beautiful unborn babies. You help support CareNet. Hope Source is another great partner of ours, and we're involved with them in a couple different ways. We fund a kind of a small fund that helps meet needs that aren't being met through some of their grant funding. And we're actively involved with the Hope Source Upper County Food Bank. And as we've become more involved in the Upper County, we're excited to see that expand. Fish, obviously, is a big partner of ours, and we continue to support them through volunteers and finances as we seek to make sure everyone in our community is well fed. And then we also have a partnership with the Kittitas Valley Ministerial Association, and we help run the cold weather shelter through our combined efforts. And let me tell you about one more. One more that is just beginning. As we looked at all of our local partners, we saw there was we had room to expand that. And so one we're just beginning right now is a ministry called Skookum Kids. Skookum is going to bring a transitional foster home to Central Washington from an established program in Bellingham. And right now, Mercer Creek, along with other churches in the area, are helping bring that to our community. So you'll hear more about that in the year ahead. So thank you so much for giving generously, serving generously, and helping Mercer Creek to love our community well.
Hi, I'm Dwayne Smithgall, care pastor here at Mercer Creek Church, and there's a lot of things to be celebrating from this past year, but there's a couple things I want to share with you. First is our Mercer Creek Men's Ministry. In the time that I've been leading that, I think this last year was the best year that we've had. I appreciate the 40 or so guys that get up every Wednesday morning. We meet here in the Commons at church at 6:30. for a time of teaching, and then we break up into small groups and discuss some questions. But I'm just thankful for the 7 small groups that we have and how everyone's been connecting with one another and with God. Another thing that I'm celebrating is something new to Mercer Creek Church called Stephen Ministries. Stephen Ministry is a lay Christian caregiving ministry. It's one-on-one care from people that have gone through 50 hours of training, and they come alongside just to listen and pray and encourage people going through a difficult time. So this past year, we had 8 different people that completed the training. Patty Klein and myself, we went through the leadership training. In this next year, we have 3 more people going through the leader training, and we're going to be offering our second class to train up more Stephen ministry leaders. So if that's something that may be of interest to you, either being a Stephen minister or being a care receiver, maybe you're going through something difficult, please let us know so that we can have someone come alongside of you to encourage you. You'll be hearing more about it in this upcoming year, but I'm just thankful for these 2 ministries here at Mercer Creek Church.
My name is Jojo Han. I am the worship pastor here at Mercer Creek Church, and I just wanted to take a couple minutes to celebrate what has happened over this last year with the worship ministry. Honestly, the big thing is volunteers. I know this season has not been easy, but before COVID hit, during this time, I've just seen volunteers step up and flex and move and be able to adapt so well to all the changes that come their way. So before COVID happened, we were starting to have some team rotations and some volunteers step up into leadership, some new volunteers coming on, learning new things. It was just a really exciting, good time. When everything shut down, I still saw volunteers step up and say, hey, any way I can help. And when we had to go, especially Easter, that was one of our first big online experiences where a lot of volunteers had to do a lot of things. And it was a really exciting time. Even now, with all the changes that are happening almost weekly, I see volunteers flexing and being able to go with whatever comes their way. And so with all the online stuff going on, that's another huge celebration. Just seeing you guys engage at a whole different level has been really exciting to watch. So thanks for continuing with us and being patient and also pressing into what God's doing here at Mercer Creek.
Hi, I'm John Coates. I'm the children's pastor here at Mercer Creek. And I just love to share with you guys what God has done in the kids ministry over this last year. Kids were praying for their neighbors when we started the year. We had amazing stories of how God was using them to reach their neighbors. And we were getting all the volunteers, and we had a great volunteer base going, and we had reached our goal of 3 to 4 in every classroom. And then this pandemic happened. And we've had to pivot, and how we've pivoted as a kids ministry is to do videos online. And so we've been doing our lessons and fun videos, and we've added this new part of empowering parents to disciple their kids. It's been amazing to see parents pray for their kids to ask Jesus into their hearts and to see kids grow by the influence of their parents. So it's been an awesome year. It's been a tough year. It's been a challenging year, but God is still good.
Hello, Mercer Creek Church. My name is Bennett Phillips. I am the new Crossfire Middle School pastor here. As many of you know, I started here just prior to COVID. So I came in excited to use all of my experience and my talent working with middle school students. And of course, everything was turned upside down and on its head. But we've had some wonderful, wonderful things happen during this time. One of those things is just the fact that we've been able to meet every single week. At first, it was digitally through Zoom meetings. And then because of the size of the youth group, as we moved into phase 1, we were actually able to meet in person, albeit outside and socially distanced. But we're really able to start building those connections over the course of this summer as we had a great time outside just playing and some wonderful games and hearing a message. And really, we're seeing that feed into what we're seeing right now, which is an awesome start to a new school year. Our numbers have steadily been growing. Each week, new students are added. And really, I think the students are experiencing that connection that they missed. And so we're very excited about what is happening. Another fantastic thing is that a lot of our college students went back to be with family, and that created a new opportunity for leaders to serve. And so as I reached out, we had a lot of moms join. And I am so excited about that. I love moms. They bring all that experience and all that talent with them. They can really whip these middle schoolers into shape in a way that many of our college students probably weren't used to yelling in that mom voice. And so they are just doing a fantastic job loving these students and being firm, and we are so excited about that. So we are really looking forward to this new year and what God is doing in this ministry, and we are excited.
Hi, I'm Carrie Hansberry, Small Group Director here at Mercer Creek Church, and I wanted to share with you a few things that I'm celebrating from our last year here in small groups. The first thing that comes to my mind is back a few months ago when we all had to pivot when COVID first hit, and we couldn't meet in the same ways that we were. And so we had to go to all these different platforms and formats in order to gather together in groups. And it was so encouraging and exciting for me to see group leaders and group members doing that, learning new ways to connect, to use technology, and to continue to care for and connect with one another. Another thing that I heard about just a few weeks ago that happened here at Mercer was someone who was new to town, who joined a small group, who within the last year doesn't feel like the new person here anymore. She has friends, she is connected, and she's even thinking about leading a group herself. And so it's our desire here at Mercer for that to be true of everyone here, that people would find connection and care, and that they would really be able to flourish in the context of small groups.
Hey Mercer Creek, I'm Paul Steckel, your young adult pastor. If I had to summarize this year at SALT, it would be in one word, and that word would be change. At the start of this year, I took on the role of young adult pastor after 7 years as your middle school pastor. SALT also added Uriah Gray, our worship pastor, to the mix. And then finally, after spending most of the year with Karen King in an interim role for small group leader, and we want to thank her so much for occupying that role, we hired Rachel Williams to be our small groups and women's pastor in the spring. We did our best to maintain community and navigate all this change throughout the year, and SALT is such a powerful, strong community that the ministry was thriving despite all of this change. We went through COVID and we actually maintained a very strong online presence and got through the year with a lot of upside and a lot of excitement about what could be happening this year and this fall. One story that comes to mind that really strongly represents how things kind of went this year was when we did a series in the fall called Questioning God. And this was a series that invited people to humbly and earnestly approach the Lord and say, stuff in life doesn't necessarily make sense, and how do I navigate my faith with that? Well, after one of the lessons, I went out to the lobby and a young lady was waiting to talk with me there. She told me that she had had questions about faith in the Bible when she was a young adult going to church when she was a teenager. And because nobody was willing to answer those questions, because they were accusing her of doubt, they actually asked her to leave the church. She hadn't been to church for 10 years, and she came on the night that we were preaching about it's okay to seek answers humbly and earnestly from our Lord. She's been coming to SALT ever since and even got engaged in a small group that night. Mercer Creek, this is one of many stories about how God is working in the lives of young adults here at Mercer Creek Church. Thank you so much for your support, and we hope to keep on doing this for a long time.
Hi, I'm Judith Jackson, and I'm the Mercer Creek Child Care Director. This year, our main focus has been on advancing God's kingdom. We've had a great opportunity to partner up with the children's ministry. Jonathan and his team helped us implement a new curriculum for our classrooms. It's a gospel project-inspired curriculum. It's a hands-on, interactive way of teaching the kids all the Bible stories. The kids absolutely love it. And Jonathan and his team also painted murals on the walls. We got new tables, new chairs, and new supplies in our classrooms. The teachers also started implementing a preschool curriculum called Handwriting Without Tears, also an interactive, hands-on way of learning how to write and read. And our teachers have just done a tremendous job during this pandemic, adjusting and creating new ways of teaching during a pandemic. This year, we have had just a great time teaching the kids about the love of Jesus, and we look forward to continuing creating little disciples.
So church, I get to share with you what's been happening around our facilities. First of all, one of the cool things that's happened, this was kind of wild, we had a bunch of trees taken out of Mercer Creek so that when you drive in our new entrance, you'll be able to see the new front end of our building. We've been working hard on the front end of our building where our old kind of what we would call our fellowship hall is now going to become the commons. It's going to be a new entrance for our church, and we're going to be able to have the capacity to come in and out of church and have a place to meet and greet with one another. We're so excited about that. Of course, it's kind of a little wonky in COVID, but we're grateful that God continues to move us forward, and hopefully very soon we're going to have new front doors on that end of the building. The garage has been remodeled into another worship space. We have moved the shop that was in a very small space in the back of the garage building to the double garage. We have our youth building. It's being, kind of redone. It's being remodeled so that eventually it'll become a gym. What's great in the meantime right now, it's all set up for not only our ministries to use it, but our after-school program is their after-school program is going to be using it throughout the week. So that's awesome to see how God is being able to use our facility even more and more and more. So a lot of good things have been happening. And even though we have been enduring COVID and partly because of COVID, we've been able to do a bunch of work which hasn't interfered with ministries and programs. So we're grateful to God during this time that we were able to leverage our facility to its maximum potential and make for a preferable future that's coming real soon. So we're grateful for all that.
Hey everyone, my name is Uriah and I am the worship pastor for both Salt and Upper County. As many of you know, we had planned to open up Upper County on Easter this year. And for the whole year, we put everything together. We recruited volunteers. We got all the gear we needed to make that happen. And then of course, COVID-19 came and we had to postpone our launch. And in a powerful move of God, we still launched during this season. In July, we opened the doors and did somewhat of a soft launch, basically practicing what it would look like to do church up there. Now we are officially open, and it has been an incredible experience to watch everyone come together and make Upper County happen every week. Some of you may not know, but every Sunday, we get there at 2 o'clock to set up the entire building. We lay down carpet, we set out chairs, we do pipe and drape, and we also set up the stage, all the instruments, speakers, kids ministry, hospitality. The entire system is set up by volunteers who come and give their time on Sunday. Also, the worship team, most of whom are SALT volunteers, they drive up from here to Upper County to worship with that community. So getting to see all of this happen, and then after the service, everyone working together to tear it down and make sure the building is clean and ready for use throughout the week, has been quite an experience as a leader to see so many people step up and step out and be part and invest in this community. Now that we're officially open, we've been seeing families attend, we've been seeing new people come, locals, and it is really, really exciting to see what God is doing. Some things you could pray for is that volunteers who are locals find their way to Upper County campus and start participating in any area, everything from kids ministry to worship and hospitality. We would love to see that community start to be completely self-sufficient. But it's also, again, a blessing to see this body work so well together to make Upper County happen. So I am excited and thrilled to see what God has in store for Upper County.
Hi, my name is Austin Novak, and I'm our high school ministry director here at Mercer Creek Church. And man, what a crazy year it's been so far, but one filled with awesome stories. Something that rang true out of this year and out of really the initial hit of COVID was the desire our leaders, our high school leaders, had for students. Even in a time when we had to be in separate places and social distancing and had to be in quarantine, our leaders continued to desire to build relationships with high school students. One of those stories that just emphasizes the creativity that our leaders wanted to go to and the ends that they would go to meet these students where they were at was our 10th grade girls and kind of this idea they brought to me. They wanted to do a spa day. I know this sounds super goofy, but man, to this group and to a time like this and where they just needed some kind of normal, it was so beneficial. And as they went on through the rest of summer, their small groups continued to just develop and grow deeper in both conversation, and the relationships that were built from that were ones that will continue to last a lifetime. So from stories like this and seeing how how our leaders wanted to go deeper with our students. Coming into a year also filled with change and flexibility, we've continued to have great turnouts at Journey and students that were just ready to be back in community with people. And God's continued to open really cool doors for us. One of those things is with our change of location. He's brought back the possibility of doing worship live for our students. And just so many doors that God's continues to open through this year. The desire that he's put on the leaders and just our desire to reach after students has been awesome. So we're super excited to see what God's going to do next.
Hi, Mercer Creek. Katrina here, representing the finance team. I wanted to give you a quick update on where we ended the year financially. This was a tough year for us in so many different ways. We ended the year about $200,000 short in our general fund. But throughout the year, we were able to pivot and spend very cautiously. So in August, we ended with a $38,000 surplus. We used that money to balance out a few small negative accounts. But this was a reason to celebrate. We may not have started the year fully staffed, but we ended the year fully staffed and ready for ministry this fall. We also started a church in Upper County during a pandemic. And we spruced up our space just a little bit so that our ministries would have everything they needed to start this fall off to a great start. We are so thankful of how God has provided for us in this season. So thank you for celebrating with us. If you'd like more information, we have packets available. We have hard copy and electronic copies available. Please reach out to us at the church office and we'd be happy to coordinate getting that information to you. Thank you.
Two care groups that I'm celebrating is Divorce Care and Celebrate Recovery. Thankful for Divorce Care and the leadership with Randy and Tiffany Larson and Marlene Travis. They work with a team and have provided divorce care. It's for people going through a divorce, somehow whose lives have been touched by divorce or separation. And what I celebrate is people that come, that they find healing, they find forgiveness, they find a sense of community. And as a result of that ministry, we had a few marriages that were restored. So very thankful for divorce care. Also very thankful for Celebrate Recovery. Tim and Vicki Raridan, appreciate their leadership and the team that they work with every Thursday night. Celebrate Recovery is a place where people can find freedom and recovery from habits, hurts, and hang-ups. So just thankful for how God is working in both of these care groups.
Hey, Mercer Creek, let me give you an update on global missions. Due to COVID-19 and quarantine, we weren't able to do the mission trips we planned to do. But fortunately, because we have a missions budget, we were able to send each ministry from our global partners a financial gift. Let me tell you about what each of those gifts look like. Over in Chicago with Envision and Scott Mankey, we were able to buy them a couple of freezers and some food. Their community is devastated by lack of essential resources and basic human needs, and they're actively working within that community to reach out and to give essential items to everybody in their neighborhood. Over in Mexico at Door of Faith Orphanage, this orphanage takes the best care of kids that I have ever seen. But their program or their model for doing that is having American groups come and stay and work there. And obviously they couldn't have that this year. So we were able to send them a gift to help keep them moving along and taking great care of kids. Over in the Dominican Republic with Mission 2535 and Rick and Tammy Romano, they are going insane, buying hundreds of pounds of rice and beans and doing all sorts of community outreach and giving resources and education and doing their very, very best to support their community through this global pandemic. I called up Rick and I said, hey, Rick, I know food is the thing that everybody wants to send money to. What do you need money for that is out of the ordinary that Mercer Creek can help you with? And he said, we could use toilets. And that's what we sent the money for. This is just one of the many ways that we're reaching out and engaging with our global community and being good partners. And they're committed to being partners with us. So if you're thinking about it this year, would you pray for the Dominican Republic? Would you pray for Door of Faith Orphanage? And would you pray for Scott Mankey and Envision Chicago?
Hi, Mercer Creek. My name is Brian Shanafelt. I serve on your governing board here at the church. And I'm here to talk to you about a couple of different things. The first is a change that we made last spring at the general meeting when we voted to modify the way that we count membership here at the church. we now ask you to meet 6 different criteria, and they are as follows. First of all, that you will be cultivating a vibrant relationship with Jesus Christ. Secondly, that you consistently participate in biblical community. Number 3 is we ask you to be neighboring those who live around you. Number 4 is that you serve in a Mercer Creek ministry or in another ministry that also aligns with our values, vision, and mission here at the church. Number 5 is that you're stewarding personal resources to finance the ministries of Mercer Creek Church. And then the final criteria is that you attend Mercer Creek Church at our corporate worship meetings on a regular basis and being committed to prayer. So that is a little bit different than the way we've done it in the past, is we're really asking you to attest to these things, and in so doing, you'll be counted as a member of the church. The second thing that we're doing is, that I'm explaining to you, is that our governing board from time to time will have people cycle on and off, and we're required by rule to have people who've served for 2 different terms, which is 6 years, to rotate off. And so we have 2 of our members at large doing that now. Randa Mangles and Kendra Allen have served for well over that time, and they are now leaving the board, and we thank them very much for their service for all these years. And we are welcoming to the board by vote of affirmation Stephanie Teasley and Vicky Machuro. And so we're going to ask you to, as a member of the church, to go ahead to vote to affirm them in their positions on the governing board as members at large. So church, what we want you to do is look for an email that you may have already received, or it may be coming in the mail, for you to vote on, first of all, the fact that you are going to affirm that you are a member at Mercer Creek Church by those criteria, and then you'll be prompted to go ahead and vote for these 2 ladies that have agreed to serve on the governing board. So that'll be your task, and if you're unable to receive an email or you didn't get it in the mail, all you have to do is check the website or contact the office and we'll get that to you.
So church, one of the questions that's been coming my way is, hey, where are we going as Mercer Creek? And of course, because of COVID and some of the limitations that we've been faced with, this has been truly one of the most challenging seasons I've been a part of in ministry. But what's great is God continues to work and his kingdom continues to advance despite this pandemic. As we look forward, we're truly grateful for the opportunities we sense that God has put in front of us. And one of the things we've realized in this pandemic, it's that, again, you are more important than ever. We want to encourage you to be what Jesus said is really most important. You might remember in the book of John, in fact, I've shared this last week preaching, is that in John chapter 13, verse 34, Jesus gave us a new commandment. And I think when you hear something like this, a new commandment, it's something that we need to pay attention to. He said this, "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, you must love one another. And by this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." Church, our vision for the future of this year, 2020, the rest of this year, and of course next year, 2021, is that we not just endure the pandemic. It's not to create better videos or online services. Our dream, our hope is that we can push into small and continue to grow our church by loving one another. Small groups and microchurches are essential for this opportunity. You might remember, and again, our definition kind of been is that small groups are a group up to about 10 people who gather in Jesus' name, who share life together, who engage curriculum together, who pray for one another and love one another. Microchurches are 2 or more households who engage the service and discuss the online service together. Again, these 2 opportunities are what we're trying to push into as a church. And the reason why is we believe they're the best spaces to fulfill Jesus' new command, to love one another. So church, here's our desire. We want you to be loved with Jesus type love this year. And I want to implore you, join a small group, lead a small group, start or host a microchurch. We know that if we take care of one another, we were going to show the world the unity that Jesus intended for us to have. This is an opportunity in our broken world to be a place where love flourishes and to be a blessing to our world and to create unity that is so desperately, desperately needed. So please, I want to encourage you, do what you can in this next season to find community, to engage community, to really be a part of what God is doing here at Mercer Creek. We know that your involvement will make all the difference. Thanks for being a part. We'll see you soon.